Yo, what's up, everyone? This is Welcome to Sports Radio. He's Jeff Nadeau. I'm Peter Loshak. Of course, we do this every Saturday morning, college football. It's been a great show, very successful. We're not going to bullshit around. A lot of games on the card today, Jeff Nadeau, and a lot of bets that I've made, a lot of bets that I want to make, some free play parlay shit that I want to do after the show. So I want to get off here right at 11:30 a.m. At this point in the season, I expect myself to have a lot of angles that I'm liking, a lot of bets that I think are positive EV. That's how I feel today, Jeff Nadeau. I'm liking the card.
Yeah, so am I. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get after it.
Let's get after it. Let's not waste any more time. Well, let's quickly. Let me quickly glance the comment section, see if there's any comments or opinions that we want to identify very quickly. And then, okay, nothing really that I'm seeing. Hold on one second. Okay, all right. Everyone in the comment section, is there any game you want to talk about? Any opinion you want us to address? Put it in there. All right, let's get into it. Of course, we're going to talk about 10 games. Then we're going to talk about the entire card after that. First game, you chose it, Jeff Nadeau, right? Louisville, Miami. This was a game that I thought I was liking a lot. Then the line movement had me concerned, and now the recent line movement has confirmed my initial opinion on this one. Louisville, Miami. I don't know why you took this one, but I was thinking Louisville was going to be a good bet here. We talked about Miami against Florida State last week. In general, Miami's a team I want to bet against, but in that spot against Florida State, I said that's where I would like them, and they did in fact cover. In general, they're a team I want to bet against. Louisville, of course, beat Virginia last week. Way too big of a favorite. They lost by double digits, ATS, but they're a great team this year. They have high expectations. At anything close to pick 'em, I'm loving Louisville here. Is that what you like here, Jeff?
No, I like Miami in this game. I think
tell us why.
this is the spot. I mean, ask yourself. I mean, Louisville's 9-1. Miami's 6-4. They have some rough games. They've not played well. Lost to Georgia Tech. Yet, in some spots they're a favorite in this game. I think that's telling you all you need to know. I mean, Louisville has not fared well on the road this year. Remember, in one of their road games, they went and lost to Pittsburgh, who we know is very poor. I think in the end, Peter, we have to remember, look, are Miami as good as Louisville? No, but this is a top 10 team getting points on the – it doesn't make sense to me. And remember, Miami is a group that still get very good athletes. This is still a team that get high-level players. But again, Louisville struggled on the road, struggled in Indiana, struggled at NC State. I mentioned the Pitt game, and then struggled at Virginia. And struggled last week against Virginia, who are 2-8. So, yeah, to me, I'm not that impressed with Louisville. I don't love their quarterback, Jack Plummer. And this is a damn good Miami defense. I'm going to take Miami. I'm going to trust them here. I think there are pick'ems out there, so I'm going to just take them at that price.
Okay, yeah, we might. Your point about Louisville on the road is absolutely 100% valid, and that is my main concern with this one. Taking Louisville, it is bouncing all over the place. You're saying Louisville, getting points, that doesn't make sense. Well, at Heritage right now, they're actually -1, although at Pinnacle, it's about even. It's about pick 'em. So the market has bounced around recently. Of course, Miami, Florida was a favorite yesterday, earlier in the week. Now it's gone back to pick 'em. So strong opinions on both sides. Jeff Nadeau liking Miami. I'm going to take a shot with Louisville, although I completely agree with you. The road situation is the one huge concern for me. But we're going to be on opposite sides of that one, Jeff Nadeau. That's okay. Next game that we're going to talk about is a game that I chose. I might be on the wrong side of this one. I don't know. Cincinnati, West Virginia. All right. Cincinnati, West Virginia. Cincinnati went into Houston and they won. That's 2 ATS wins in a row now for Cincinnati. Of course, they've been awful ATS before that. I did have them against Houston. And West Virginia got beat down by Oklahoma State by Oklahoma in that last game. They were pretty salty though. And West Virginia was good ATS before that game. And I was thinking that West Virginia would be a good bet here. Although it opened it under a touchdown, like 6.5. Then it went down to 4.5. Now I think it's back up to 5.5. So Cincinnati, of course, is back on the rise. They've had a bad year, and then in these last few weeks, they're starting to get better. So I don't like to bet against teams like that. But I think the spot is good for West Virginia. They have the talent and the motivation to get a touchdown win here. I'm going to be on it. If it loses, that's okay. What do you think of this one, Jeff Nadeau?
Yeah, I mean, you have to wonder what Cincinnati's thought process is in this game. I mean, the game does mean virtually nothing. They can't go bowling. West Virginia's been a great team all season as far as just getting the job done at home, taking care of business. And, it's been a fun year for them. I thought this was a bad roster on paper coming into the season. Neil Brown's done a really good job. They're definitely the better offense in this game. You mentioned they are at home. I wonder how subtle is this rivalry? I know these teams are pretty close to each other. I mean, maybe West Virginia cares about it from that standpoint as well. But I didn't have much in this one, but I always tend to, if West Virginia's at home this season under a touchdown, I would definitely lean them here. I'm not a big fan of the quarterback at Cincinnati, Emory Jones. Yeah, I think you got a good one here. Cincinnati seems to be lost in this conference.
Yeah, it could lose, but I agree with it. Brent Cook likes West Virginia. Ronnie Imbergia likes West Virginia. Robert Franklin likes West Virginia. Robert Franklin also likes Louisville money line. We're seeing Noli No saying, "What up, Pete? Where's the unders?" Noli asking rhetorical questions in the comments. Like, you tell us. Noli knows where the unders are. I don't know. I think there's an under in ULM Ole Miss. Maybe there's an under in Virginia Duke. That's one of the games that Jeff Nadeau has selected to talk about. Maybe in that Oregon game because Bo Nix has a relationship with the coach of Arizona. So it's an interesting card. There are a bunch of unders. Noli knows that I'm thinking might have some value, but why don't you tell us where the
about
unders
Navy
are?
ECU? Two awful teams.
Yes, one of these friggin' 30-point totals. I don't know what to make about that, but Noli knows a lot of unders, a lot more unders than overs that I'm liking this week.
Also,
but
Noli, Noli, don't you know?
He does know. But he
so
speaks in riddles sometimes.
Yeah, why is he
speaks in riddles and half phrases, as he should. If I were an oracle, I would speak in riddles and half sentences as well. So all we can do is be respectful and kind and hope that Noli blesses us with whatever he's going to bless us with. Shout out to Noli Knows, Nutflush Allen. All right, West Virginia, I'm on it. Weird line movement, but I'm on it. A lot of U-shaped line movement this week. A lot of early moves one way, and now I'm seeing some late line moves the other way. In fact, when I was putting my tweet for Northwestern, when I had my thought, it moved. Then while I was typing it, it moved again. And then I posted, it moved again. So a lot of late line moves here. Jeff Nadeau's next game that he's going to talk about is a game that has also seen pretty big line move since opening, and that is Michigan-Maryland. Huge, interesting handicapping situation here. Michigan-Maryland. Of course, Michigan went into Penn State. They won. They covered. They're now 5-1 ATS. An awesome team. Maryland, won at Nebraska, 4 straight ATS losses before that. Obviously, Michigan way better. You knew they were going to be a huge favorite. Opened around 21. That was the first line I saw. Got bet down a few points. Obviously, Michigan has Ohio State up next. I was thinking my first thought was Maryland and the under. I didn't bet it, though, because Michigan is just so good. I have no problem pulling the trigger on these huge home dogs against elite teams. I haven't done that yet. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I should have taken Maryland at plus 21. What do you like here, Jeff?
Yeah, I think this game is probably similar to the game last season. The one team that gave Michigan some trouble was Maryland. It was a 34-27 game. This is a spot where we have to think that Michigan's looking ahead a little bit. And I've noticed someone actually has tracked how Michigan and Ohio State have played in the game before their game together. And both teams have not fared well against the spread. I think Maryland is the best offense Michigan will play thus far. I don't think that's hard to point out. This is a good offense. Talia Tagovailoa is terrific. They've got a good running back, some weapons. They have a decent defense, and they're at home here. They're getting a bunch of points. They have been a team that have given Michigan some issues. Look, I might be stupid betting into the Michigan kind of freight train that they are on defense, but I'm going to do it here. I think this is just too many points. I think this could be like 38-27 or something. I think Michigan will struggle a little bit more than they normally do. Peter, team total for Maryland is 14.5. So you're banking on the fact that this will be the best scoring output against Michigan this season. I might be stupid for doing it, but there's a lot going on outside. You got a lot to look forward to. I think Maryland it will be up for this one.
That was my first thought as well. I didn't pull the trigger on it. It's now down to 21. So we'll see. And Noli does say he likes the Army Coastal Carolina under, despite the incredibly low total. All right, next game is a game that this is a game where I took a shot on the under. Noli knows. We'll see what you have to say about it. Wake Forest, Notre Dame. Wake Forest, of course, was blown out by NC State last week. I had Wake Forest in that one. Okay, that was a loser. Notre Dame is off a loss to Clemson. We had Clemson in that game. They're off a bye. Now they're coming in here. You knew Notre Dame was going to be a huge favorite here. It was open. First line I saw was 25, which is enormous. The total was 48. It's a pretty friggin' massive line. Wake Forest has, that quarterback quarterback Kern. The start didn't go well. They have kind of a weird, funky offense, but Notre Dame has the tools on defense, I think, to prepare for it and the time. So I still think Notre Dame probably a good bet, leaning under. I bet the under at 48. Now it's down to 46 or so, and the Wake Forest team total under as well. That's what I'm thinking here, Jeff Nadeau. What do you think? My only concern with Notre Dame minus 25 is what if it's like a 24-3 final score or something like that. I'm leaning under, and Wake Forest team total under.
Yeah, I mean, the problem that Wake's had this year is one that they can't get going offensively just because they can't protect their quarterback. I mean, I don't – there's not a lot of teams – I think outside of Colorado, they've given up more sacks than anybody in the country, and that's not a feasible way to stay in games. That's not a feasible way to run an offense, and against good teams, you're going to struggle. I mean, look at some of these outputs, Peter. 16 against Georgia Tech, 12 against Clemson, 6 last week. This team rarely gets into the 20s. I don't know that Notre Dame's going to kind of run the score up, if you will. I kind of had this where you kind of thought, 27-3, 31-7, something like that. I think Wake struggles considerably. Notre Dame is, as we know, a good football team, much better recruits. We know they'll probably get to the quarterback a little bit here. Yeah, I think the under is a good play. I don't think this is much different than the game last week that Wake really struggled in.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, I took it at 48. It's now down to 46.5. That's okay. Next game that Jeff Nadeau is going to talk about here is an interesting one. Appalachian State JMU. Appalachian State, of course, blasted, usually a great team, great ATS as well, blasted Georgia State last week. That's 2 straight huge margin ATS wins for Appalachian State. Before that, though, they were terrible ATS. And, I think I took them a few times, small, but I took them and they burned me ATS. James Madison, of course, blasted UConn last week. Supposedly the Sharps like UConn and the under last week against JMU. Both of those lost. JMU now 7-1 against the spread in their last 8. And the line opened at JMU like 11.5 and 56. And I believed it's moved pretty significantly since then. I'm not sure where it is right now, but I've been under 10 though. Why'd you pick this game? What do you like here, Jeff?
So, Peter, this is what I'm going to try to do as quick as I can, but there's a lot to talk about here. JMU cannot go to a bowl. They cannot compete to win this title. As we know, they were denied a waiver. Stupid rule. Shame on you, NCAA. That said, JMU, I think, takes it out on App State today. They have a couple of games kind of make their presence felt, and they go into the offseason. Kind of a shame because they're probably going to be undefeated. That said, App State can't stop teams. They've made that clear time and time again. And JMU could score against anyone. They're just a freight train offense. But one thing I'm concerned about is JMU's great against the run, but they're not great against the pass. And App State likes to throw the football. I think Joey Aguilar can move the ball on this team. We've seen JMU in certain games where opponents can throw the football. They've been able to put some points on the board. You look at South Alabama, they got into the 20s. Old Dominion scored 27. Utah State moved the ball. Virginia moved the ball. I think if you can attack JMU down the field, you can have some success. I'm actually going to lean on the over here, Peter, 56.5, I bet. I think it's a little too low. I think App State can move the ball. We know JMU's good offensively, scoring over 34 points a game. Both these teams, 34 and 35 points a game. I think we see more of a shootout than anything. Kind of maybe similar to last season, 32-28. I could see that. I'm going to go with the over here. I think App State can attack JMU down the field.
Yeah, the line has dropped from 11.5 to 9.5, but now it's the total's moved up a little bit since the first line I saw, just a half point, 56 to 56.5. And I think you might be right. The JMU team total is 33.5, which is high, but they might be just running, gunning all day long. Dan Kelly, shout out Dan Kelly, points out it's college game day at JMU. So yeah, it's going to be a big game. I think you might be right here. And my note on this game was just, did Appalachian State turn a corner? I'm not exactly sure. My guess was my note here is don't think so. So I have loving JMU here, question mark on the opening line. Of course, it moved 2 points since then, but you're right. The over and the team total over. Go ahead.
Yeah, one other thing here. Both these teams are top 15 in the country in scrimmage plays of 50 yards or more. These are big play offenses. And if they can get them going, we could see one or two of them here. I think you're kind of right on the terms of App State. I think you're kind of leaning that way as far as I'm listening here.
No, I was leaning JMU.
Okay, you're leaning JMU. Well, you're getting a favorable number now at 9.5.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. But the JMU team total over, though. Robert Franklin likes App State at plus 9.5. And Robert Franklin also likes JMU minus 3.5 first quarter. This is all interesting stuff. Londo says, anyone else on Virginia with me against Duke? We'll be talking about that game very shortly in depth. That's one of the games that Jeff Nadu picked. And all right, let's move on. Minnesota, Ohio State is a game that I took, right? Minnesota went into Purdue and lost. That was a game where I had Purdue on the opening line. The line moved way against me. Of course, I won. Most of the games this year, earlier in the year, the line moved in my favor. I lost. Here's one where it moved against me, and I won. Minnesota, though, is banged up. Ohio State, though, of course, blasted Michigan State. They got Michigan up next. So Ohio State, a huge favorite, of course, and a relatively low total. I was thinking maybe a shot with the under, but more so, I was thinking maybe Ohio State first half. Ohio State, of course, usually is a relatively slow starting team, but last week they were big in the first half. At home, they tend to be better early, so I wouldn't want to take them full game, but it just, they don't want to put risk some kind of crazy loss here with Michigan up next. I think they'll want to put this like Alabama used to do, put the game away in the first half. Second half, who knows? Maybe we'd take an under 20.5 in the second half, but I'm thinking maybe Ohio State first half. Minnesota banged up, not a good spot for them. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I think their coach is kind of a lame duck as well. They've not been good on defense. They're 5-5. I mean, you're going to get some fight from them, I think. I got to be honest, 28 seemed a bit high to me here. I felt like if it got higher than that, I'd maybe take a shot. I don't think Minnesota's that bad. I don't think they're Northwestern or something like that. This is not a vintage Ohio State team. We know they have a big game on deck. I mean, Peter, let me ask you, do they get the 28 points here? I mean, this is not a vintage offense. You're going to have to really be great on defense to cover this number, and they can be, but Minnesota's not that bad. I thought 28 was a bit high. I feel like we're grading them as like a really bad Big Ten team, and I'm not sure that they're that. They're not great, but I don't think they're 28-point dogs against Ohio State, who may not score 28 points.
Yeah, it's just they're kind of bagged up on defense, right? Against Purdue, their starting linebacker was out. Then the guy who replaced him was out. They got a safety out, a couple of injuries there. So Ohio State first half minus 17. I think that I see Ohio State is in this spot right now significantly better than Minnesota, but you're not quite seeing that?
Well, I think you're right. If I'm going to play it, I'd probably lean more towards them putting the game away early, going up, 21 nothing, and kind of never looking back. And, the game can get interesting late. Yeah, that's where I would go if I'm looking to bet Ohio State. I wouldn't have any interest in a full game. This could be like 31-7, 31-10.
Yeah.
I'm going to lean.
All right. Well, I still like Ohio State. First half minus 17. At Pinnacle, you can get 16.5 minus 119. And if you're like me, you play it a lot very safe and do a stupid mathematical move and take Ohio State minus 14 at minus 155. But I like Ohio State first half here. All right, here we go. Next game is Duke, Virginia. Jeff Nadu chose this as one of the games he wanted to talk about. Crazy game here, right? Virginia's small home dog, relatively low total. Duke went into UNC. They lost that game, but they covered. It went into OT, a high-scoring game. They had lost 3 in a row ATS before that. Of course, they have issues at quarterback. Not sure who's going to be playing, but the freshman who came in, that guy Loftus, he was good against North Carolina. He threw a bunch of touchdowns. It was a high-scoring game. They lost, but it went to OT, and they covered. And Virginia lost at Louisville, but they covered. They were a huge dog. They've been covering in general now. They've covered 6 out of their last 7. They also have 2 extra rest days here, and it's a very emotional time for Virginia because, first of all, it's the anniversary of the shooting from last year. Then, second of all, there was a big injury on the field for Virginia last week. One of their players was seriously injured, and now he's moving and walking, so he's going to be better. But there's those 2 things. They're an underdog. I would be leaning Virginia as a home dog. More so, though, I took a shot with the under 48. Now it's down to, I believe, 46 or so. But I think I like the under here a decent amount and maybe lean to Virginia. Interesting that you chose this as one of your top 5 games to talk about, Jeff. Why'd you choose this one?
Yeah, I really like Virginia. And for all the reasons you mentioned, as well as others. Peter, what is Duke playing for here? Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, they've already become bowl eligible, and now you have to go to a sleepy game against a 2-8 team at 3:00 on a Saturday after you just lost an OT game against your rival. just a rough spot to me if you're Duke. I don't think they're that up for this game. Towards the end of the season, you have to look into motivation. And to me, what you talked about with somebody off the field things, Virginia is tough, man. They play hard. They've covered a lot, as you alluded to. And I've watched them a lot. This Calandria kid is a good quarterback. He can move the football. They are not completely lost. I equate this game a lot to a game the other night with Pittsburgh against Boston College. Boston College was playing for nothing. And what we see Pitt do, they made a change of quarterback. They've been effective under this Nate Yarnell kid. So, yeah, I think this is a similar situation here. I grabbed this at 4. I took a little shot at 4, down at 3. I just don't think you see a real motivated Duke team. We know, Peter, without Riley Leonard healthy, they have not been the same team. I like Virginia at home. I think they get a very emotional win today. I really do.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the under, and it's just because it's such a unique kind of handicapping situation that I wanted to wait a little bit to see how the market would move, get other information. I was definitely leaning on Virginia as well, thinking like that I was maybe loving them. So I missed the 4, but although I think I saw 4 recently. But yeah, I'm going to be on them as well. Interesting comments in the comments section. Primetime says Ohio State always starts slow. Yeah, but they didn't against Michigan State last week. They were a big favorite against Western Kentucky this year. They didn't. They were a big favorite against Youngstown State this year, and they weren't that slow of a starter there as well. So you're right. In general, I think that they start slow, but in this spot, I think maybe they won't. Let's see. Nutflush Allen says JMU might be a triple up, like with Toledo. Great comment there. Nutflush Allen. Robert Franklin likes UNLV money line. We will talk about that.
Peter.
And go ahead. Yeah.
One thing I will say, just to mount on Virginia, other than Georgia Tech, find a game they've been blown out. And second of all, they took JMU, who's undefeated. They were up 11 going into the fourth quarter and lost.
Yeah.
So, again, this is a tough little team, man. They play hard.
Completely agreeing with you. I was like, well, I know I'm going to have Nadu in the comment section on Saturday morning. You know what? I'll wait. So, all right, I might have cost myself a little bit, but I'll have to check where the line is now, though, because I did see 4 early this morning. All right, next game is one that I'm going to talk about right now, one that I chose. I talked about this with Drew Martin earlier in the week. UCF, Texas Tech. Texas Tech is a small home favorite. Lines haven't moved much since opening. UCF, of course, blasted Oklahoma State last week. I was on that one. They had been bad ATS before that. Texas Tech beat Kansas last week as a small road dog. Kansas had some quarterback issues in that one, but it was still a nice win by Texas Tech. And I took a shot with Texas Tech here, 2.5 or 3. Texas Tech is doing better now with their quarterback Morton. He's playing better. UCF is fine, but they're definitely a team that can disappear on the road. They're off a big win. I like Texas Tech here. If it loses, fine, but I think I'm seeing a big edge with them.
Peter, it's not been a great season for me this year as opposed to some, but I think sometimes you realize you might still have it. And I think we realized that last week. UCF was a great play last week.
Yeah.
You had to be able to diagnose that. As far as this one, though, I kind of lean to the over. I mean, anytime UCF plays, I lean to the over. Their offense is awesome. I don't love their defense. They performed really well last week, but I don't know if that's indicative of who they really are. We know they're not a good run defense. It was just one of those spots. As you alluded to, Texas Tech has been much better recently as well. Last week, I think you got to give them credit, but you don't because Kansas didn't have either quarterback. I think they had a third stringer in there. When Texas Tech plays a team that can move the ball, it's generally a high-scoring game. I'm going to lean on the over here. I think this is one of those old school Big 12 shootouts. I'm gonna bank on its first 30 wins. Both teams get into the 30s.
I agree with you on that, and also leaning the Texas Tech team total over as well. But I'm going to take that. Other comments coming in. People, including Nutflush Allen, talking about the over in the Duke game. Yeah, it's now down to 46. I took the 48, so maybe I'll hedge out and try to get a middle or something. But yeah, that's interesting there. All right, Jeff,
Peter,
do the next game. Go ahead. Yeah,
we're gonna get through our 5 games each, but I'm going to tease in the extra section. I've got an ad I'm going to make. I've got an ad. I love a game.
An ad. Great. Yes. I thought you meant like an ad, like my name is Big Man on Campus. No. Like, okay. All right. Last game that you want to talk about from your top 5, Jeff. Huge game. Washington, Oregon State. Washington, of course, undefeated, 1-6 ATS, 1-5 ATS in their last 6. We see that a lot in all sports. This year, Tulane is like that. A lot of teams are like that. Washington undefeated and 1-5 ATS in their last 6, including last week against Utah where they won but lost ATS. Oregon State, a quality team, crushed Stanford last week, put up over 60. Huge game here. Oregon State, a small favorite right now. I mean, I won't even get into how huge this game is. Man, I don't know. What do you like here, Jeff?
Over. Big. I love the over in this game. I don't know. I don't understand how these teams don't score. I think it's a great matchup for both. I mean, Peter, let me ask you, do you really want to bet against Washington? I'll tell you that. I don't. But then again, I don't really trust their defense. And one thing I've seen that's abundantly clear is Oregon State, another team that is a bit susceptible against the pass. They found themselves in some shootouts this year against some good offenses, and this is the best offense they're going to play. Michael Penix is that good. We know the pass offense is terrific. And we know that Washington can't stop the run. They can't do much of anything on the defensive end. I think this is back and forth. You look at Oregon State, Peter, when they get into the red zone, 30 touchdowns and 37 attempts. They score touchdowns. Washington's been very effective in the red zone as well. I think this is a fun back and forth game. I think 62 is a little too low. I think this is a first to 40 wins. I don't want to pick a side, but I like points in this game.
That's what I was thinking as well. I was like, is this too obvious? No, I don't think so. Swiss Horton has given a nice dono cash alive, 15 leg. Wow. Plus 31.77 for shits and giggles. Hell yeah. Wow. Been running hot. He says, Loshak, I'd love a 2-leg money line parlay from the two of you if you can. Absolutely. I think
I got an idea here, Peter. I got an idea.
Go ahead. Yep.
Let's give him, I'm going to give him, you can give him a game and I'll give him a game, but let's give him, here's an idea, bro. Army and Virginia. There you go, bro.
For a money line parlay?
Yeah.
Okay. The Army makes me nervous just because I have no idea about it. And there's so many other money lines that I think are good.
So I'll go Virginia. You go yours.
I mean, the hard part is going to be choosing which one out of like 8 that I'm liking. But Virginia will be one of them. Can't disagree with that one. That's probably the best one because they're a dog. Jeff Nadu, you know how I roll. I'm going to give.
I'm thinking we give him 2 money line dogs.
Oh, did he say just money lines? Just money lines. Okay. Doesn't have to be a dog. But Virginia's a great. Yeah.
How much did he put on that 30 plus 3,200? How much did he put on that?
Well, he says for shits and giggles. So I don't know. Does that mean that's shits and giggles? Does that mean it's a lot or a little? He might have put like $1,000 on it. I think shits and giggles. That's a pretty serious.
So he's up about $3,200. Beautiful. Good.
That's a pretty serious 4 there. Shits and giggles is huge. I think I'm going to Google that afterwards, and I'll see what shits and giggles means.
$100.
$100. Okay, great. That's awesome. Let's see. Just looking at some other comments here. Do want to make sure that we don't miss any. All right, shout out to you, Swiss Horton, Dabby Cab. We will definitely give you that money line parlay. All right, the last game that I want to talk about, which might be the money line that I will add for the Swiss Horton parlay, Nebraska, Wisconsin. I talked about this with Drew Martin earlier in the week. Wisconsin, of course, a decent sized favorite and a low total. So, I still like them on the spread, but maybe the money line is better. And I like them first half as well. Nebraska lost to Maryland, low scoring game. In general, they're not good ATS, and we know that on the road they're particularly vulnerable, even against teams that you might want to be fading, like when they went into Colorado. We were like, Colorado's overhyped. We're going to look to fade them, but not when they're at home against Nebraska. Wisconsin lost outright to Northwestern. 2 bad ATS losses in a row now for Wisconsin, and they're kind of salty based on all the reports I'm reading about them. Nebraska also kind of banged up a quarterback. They got a lot of quarterbacks. 2 of them are like half injured and all that stuff. So in general, and then Tanner Mordecai's back for Wisconsin. He's playing well. So in general, I think it adds up to a nice play on Wisconsin, even as a favorite. The line's getting bet up, and I'm guessing that they'll come out and be kind of salty and pissed from the get-go. So I also took them first half, -3, and money line as well. Like in Wisconsin, all kinds of ways here, Jeff. What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of now or never for Matt Rule. 5-5. This is a winnable game. I don't know, man. I don't really have a lot of interest in laying a number with Wisconsin. I know Mordecai's back, but I mean, they haven't really shown me at all they should be a favorite really at any point. Nebraska's got a good defense. We know that we'll get their full motivation in this game. I don't know. I didn't really see 5-6 points difference. Look, you want to throw 3 out there, fine, but 6, 5. I lean Nebraska personally, but not a game I'll be
Really?
betting. Yeah, I think Nebraska's solid. They stay in games. I mean, they generally play well against teams on their level or below them. I don't really think Wisconsin's that great a team. Why are they a 6-point favorite? Can you explain that? I don't really see it.
Well, they're back at home. It's the end of the year. They had a tough loss where they're kind of pissed off. And then you look back earlier, a loss to Ohio State, a loss to Iowa. Those are quality teams now. In retrospect, maybe not as bad. And a nice win over Rutgers. They were 13-point favorite. So I think no, you're right. Everything you said is accurate. And as the line gets bet higher, I like it less and less, but I'm on it. We'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. All right, that does it for the 10 games we want to talk about. Now let's get to the rest of the card. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. A lot of stuff I'm liking. Let's start with Purdue Northwestern. When this line came out, Northwestern was a 1-point favorite. I thought, I'm loving Northwestern here. It flipped. Purdue became a 3-point favorite. I was like, man, I think I still like Northwestern. I don't know what to think about it. Last week, there was a Purdue game where the line move was totally wrong. And now, like I said, this morning, as I was trying to post the link to this show on Twitter, the line was just moving in Northwestern's favor. Now Northwestern's a favorite again, and I think I like them even at the current line. What do you think?
Yeah, I like them too. I mean, you look at what a bowl game could mean to Northwestern. I mean, Peter, did anyone think this team would win a game this year? I mean, they had some awful things going on off the field. I mean, their coach was let go. And here they are sitting with possible bowl eligibility on their minds. Yeah, this is a great spot. I couldn't agree more with you. Getting it under a field goal still. I'm actually thinking maybe this is the other side of the Swiss Horton parlay.
Sure.
Swiss, by the way, Swiss gifted 10 Pub Sports memberships. How about that? He is letting people know he enjoys what we're giving him here. Good stuff, bro. Thank you.
Huge shout out to Swiss Morton. I wish we had enough time to give him 10 two-leg money line parlays.
Swiss Horton
Go ahead.
parlay. Northwestern, Virginia.
West Virginia?
No, Virginia.
Oh, Virginia. Yeah, starts with Virginia. West Virginia could be one I would add on. Absolutely Northwestern, I would not be opposed to adding on. It would have been great when it could have added them as a dog. All right, let's why don't we go to your ad? You teased it. You said you got an ad, Jeff Nadeau. What's your ad?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Rice minus 3. There are 2.5s available. I'm going to bank on the fact, Peter, that we get JT Daniels back. I think the thought is that he will play today. Big game for him, big game for them. We know how good they are with him at quarterback. They're playing Charlotte, who really has nothing to play for. I saw their coach, Biff Poggi, really just talking about, they're just trying to kind of finish the season on a high note. Charlotte's got a lot to play for, Peter. They got 2 games. They have 4 wins, and they have 2 very winnable games here, one of which next week at home against Florida Atlantic. Got to start, though, today. This line has steadily been going up 2, 2.5, and now to 3. I think it's clear that JT Daniels is going to play today. I'm going to do a little foreshadowing and get this in now. Rice, 2.5. I like them today.
I agree with you. When the line first came out, I did hit it at -1, and then it went up. But as the I'm not going to pull it. But as the week went on, and I read more about JT Daniels, I don't like that when a quarterback, your star quarterback, has concussion issues. He is going to play, but it's not great to have a quarterback in concussion protocol.
But here's one thing I'll say, and kind of going against what you're saying. Preston Stone, the quarterback at SMU, concussion-like symptoms last week as well. He actually played and was super effective. I think concussions usually you give them a week and you're back in there. I hear what you're saying. I'm not a big Charlotte guy, though. Look, is this the greatest play on the board? No, but I'm willing to think that in a game you have to win. I kind of rated this like the Northwestern game in a way to me. Purdue's got nothing to play for, neither does Charlotte.
Yeah, no, wow, look at all those gifted membership. I said Horton, shout out to Horton. Jeff Nadeau, I absolutely agree with you. I already bet Rice, and, we'll see what happens. We'll see where it actually closes. But regardless, I'm going to roll with it. And if it loses, that's okay. All right, let's talk about some of the comments that some of the games people are talking about. Nutflush Allen says, Memphis team total over 26.5. Jeff Nadeau, you have given Memphis team total overs in this show earlier this year. Memphis is now a dog. Memphis is an interesting team, right? Because they're winning. winning, but not covering because they're always a favorite, too big of a favorite. Now they're at home against SMU and a sizable dog. So it's an interesting situation. Of course, SMU is an offensive juggernaut, so that's the explanation for the line. Memphis in a unique spot now is a big dog, and Nutflush Allen liking the team total over, which I certainly couldn't say no to. You have anything on SMU Memphis, Jeff Nadeau?
Yeah, this is such a fascinating game, man. I mean, you got two really good quarterbacks here, two really good offenses, two big play offenses. I've said before, if you look at SMU's defensive numbers, they look really good. Keep in mind, Peter, you know the drop-off in this conference at quarterback outside of like Tulane and maybe one or two others. A lot of ECU, a lot of Charlotte, Navy. When you look at SMU and they step up and play a good offense, TCU beat them up. Oklahoma beat them up. This might be the best quarterback they'll play all year. This is a high-scoring game. I think who you said, Nutflush Allen says this. Yeah, I agree with him. I think Memphis is a live dog today at home. 8-point dogs in this game. But I think this is a back-and-forth game. A lot of big plays in this game, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do, in general, like to take those teams that are good but bad ATS bets as favorites when they're suddenly a dog. But SMU is just so good, and Nutflush Allen might be right there. If you want to take Memphis, maybe just take the team total over. Doesn't matter what SMU does. If SMU blows them out and the game sails over, you still cash. Huge shout out to Nutflush Allen. I wouldn't disagree with that. All right, let's see. Go ahead.
If I can, I want to throw one thought out there. We have heard I know that I've been back and forth in this team, but they've been good to me for most of the season outside of one or two games. Penn State fired their offensive coordinator, Mike Gersich, I believe is his name. We saw Mississippi's, who was it? Arkansas. They fired Dan Enos. Were instantly better offensively the next week. Something tells me they're sick and tired of hearing the whole, you can't move the ball, you can't throw the ball downfield. I think they take it to Rutgers today. We've seen Penn State dominate these types of teams and kind of send a message, if you will. At home, we know Rutgers cannot move the ball. They have owned Rutgers the last couple of years for the most part. I think Rutgers is kind of happy where they are this season. Look, they play hard. They're a solid defense, but let's just face it and just be honest. You could move the ball last week against Iowa, struggled against Ohio State, struggled against Wisconsin. Michigan. I like Penn State. I think this is a good spot for them.
I absolutely agree with you. The total has gotten bet down significantly. Penn State was 19.5 and just 43.5, and now it's gotten bet down. I don't even know where it is right now. It's like 40.5 or something like that. My thought was maybe Penn State and first half maybe even better. And I absolutely agree with you. Rutgers also got shut out at Iowa. I'm thinking maybe just the over in the game might be good because, again, as you said, Penn State, conservative offense. Everyone's complaining about it. Now they got a new offensive coordinator. Probably be a more wide open game. I absolutely agree with you. I'm leaning under here. I'm leaning Penn State first half for sure. Go ahead.
This is one of the, and remember, this is, again, very important. Penn State, for all you people that say they can't move the ball, they've been to the red zone 50 times this season, 50, and against a lot of bad, subpar teams, 39 touchdowns. This team can move the ball and will move the ball. Remember, this is a great number too, Peter. 19.5. If this is 27-6, you're a winner. If this is 24-0, you're a winner. This number probably should be a little higher, but you're getting, I think, a pretty good spot here. And Penn State, I think I cashed it for 6 weeks in a row on them. So I'm not getting sucked into anything, Will Hildebrand. They've made me money this year. We remember them for the big games they didn't play well in. We can't say that Rutgers is a good team. They're a nice average team, but Penn State's in a good situation here.
Yeah, and here we go. Nutflush Allen. I think Penn State wins the highest score of the day. Take that as the prop bet. Nutflush Allen likes the team total over for Penn State, and exactly for the reasons that we talked about. For one game at least, I think they're going to have a dynamic offense and open it up and try to prove something. Nuke Worker says, any thoughts on Iowa, Illinois? Now that I do have thoughts on this one. They might be wrong, and we'll see what Jeff Nadeau has to say about this one. Of course, it's going to be a low scoring game, low total. Iowa's a favorite, and Illinois has gotten a lot better. questions at quarterback there. So at first glance, you might think, well, I'll take Illinois getting anything over 3 at 3.5. And that does make some sense. But then the more I looked at it, the more I started to think Iowa might be the play here because of the spot, and taking Iowa maybe -3 or even on the money line. I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, but I'm definitely leaning Iowa after on Sunday last week. First thought being like, well, I guess at 3.5 Illinois. Now I'm leaning Iowa.
I mean, I was just, what are they playing for, man? They're already in the Big Ten title game. I mean, I guess you're really just playing for going through the motions. Illinois made some quarterback changes. They've looked better, but I hear they're going back to the old quarterback.
Well,
John
wait, Iowa? I believe
Illinois,
if they win,
sorry.
they get a spot in the Big Ten championship game, right?
No, they're already in it, I believe.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, they're 8-2, and everyone else is 5-5. So I don't think it's possible. As far as I believe, you might want to take a look there, but I'm pretty sure they're already in it.
Okay, but go ahead. Finish what you want to say.
Yeah, that said, I don't really know what Illinois is doing. John Paddock had 507 yards passing last week, and you're going back to the other quarterback. Doesn't make a lot of sense. It's a flip here. I leaned on Illinois personally, but I don't know. Iowa can be I was a tough team to bet against, but I think they're already in as far as I know.
There you go, Nuke Worker. Iowa -3, my favorite play of the day. I wouldn't go that far, but I definitely like it, and I wouldn't be opposed to throwing that in as the second play in the Swiss Horton money line parlay. Although probably it's going to be Ohio State at -88.02 at Heritage right now. But yeah, I'm liking Iowa. I'm almost certainly going to be on that one after when the line opened, thinking, well, I guess Illinois. I mean, Illinois, they're off a nice win. They beat Indiana in OT, but they lost ATS, and now they're coming back home. And Iowa is just I'm liking Iowa. Let's not go into it.
Look at Craig Wood's comment.
Craig Wood. I have concerns. Yes, of course. That's always a concern with Iowa. Absolutely. I have those concerns too, but I still think that I'm going to be on them. Well, this is an interesting one. Very quickly, let's talk about ULM and Ole Miss. The only reason I'm talking about this is obviously a huge spread, a huge total. Ole Miss has the Mississippi State game early next week. ULM is just coming in to do whatever. I'm not sure I'd want ULM plus 37.5, but I did take a shot with the under. I'm not sure that Ole Miss is going to want to run up the score here. They might. I don't think they necessarily will. And it might be 55-3, which is why I wouldn't take ULM at 37. But I like the under. Kind of a weird play. But what do you think about that? Under 62.5.
Yeah, I think UL Monroe will probably get shut out here. Maybe get to 7. But yeah, ULM's bad, man. I've seen them against some good offenses, and they've gotten destroyed. Lane is a guy who I think in this type of game will probably try to score as much as he can, but I don't think they'll get into the 60s. I think this is like probably a 52-7 type of game. I actually like laying the number here. I think you look at Chattanooga's playing Alabama today. Ole Miss has a little bit more reason to run it up. Their offense is real good. I think we've seen they could score against Georgia. They can score against anybody. I would actually look towards laying the number here. I think they win big.
All right. Well, I want to get to every game, and that's important. And there's a lot that we still got to cover. We got 15 more minutes. Wisconsin, by the way, is now up to 7. Jeff Nadu. All right. Let's talk about so many games. I guess let's talk about Kansas State just very quickly. Of course, Kansas State has been getting bet up. Kansas has quarterback issues, but the third stringer who is coming in and probably going to play a lot actually was okay last week. Now they're getting 10. I'd be leaning Kansas in the over.
Yeah, I can't get involved here. I mean, you're down to your third-string quarterback if you're Kansas. The only thought I had was Kansas State team total over. They've been very good on offense all season. We know Kansas has had some of their issues getting stops. I didn't have much in this one other than that, though.
All right. Tulane is a big favorite over FAU. And, of course, Tulane winning every game straight up, losing every game ATS. I had Tulsa last week. Didn't think they would come within 2. But, of course, Tulane lost again last week ATS. Now, once again, they're on the road at FAU. FAU, not a good team. Once again, though, I did pull the trigger on FAU plus 9. It might lose. I can't not keep betting into this against Tulane.
I think it's a good spot. I mean, FAU, we know they're a good offense, well coached. Tom Herman, I believe, is there. Tulane really just needs to win, and I think it's just kind of survive in advance, get to the next game. I don't think there's going to be much initiative in trying to kind of run it up. And I don't know if they can. Yeah, I like this one as well. Let me throw out an added game here, Peter.
Go ahead.
No one's going to want to bet this, but I'm going to tell you why you should bet it. UConn is a one-win team, and they are 24-point favorites today, Peter, against who? Sacred Heart. Yeah, Sacred Heart, who are one of the worst offenses in the FCS. This team is horrid. And if you're UConn, this is a game to really let your hair down and flex your muscles. It's still UConn. It's still Jim Mora, and it's still a significantly better team than what Sacred Heart is. I think UConn wins like 39-0. I think they kill Sacred Heart today.
Okay. I actually have a
Go ahead. You're good.
I actually have a play that might be great to put on the money line parlay for Swiss Horton. Tell me what you think about this interesting game, Syracuse, Georgia Tech. Now, Syracuse, of course, last week played in the game against Pitt at Yankee Stadium, and they won. They basically had no quarterback, so they did an on-the-fly offensive adjustment, and they played like a wildcat scheme with the tight end getting the snaps, and they wound up putting 28 points up. So that has me a little bit concerned. Georgia Tech, though, of course, lost to Clemson, but they had two big wins before that. So I'm thinking Georgia Tech might be a great bet here, unless there's some kind of offensive transition for Syracuse that'll be effective again, and Georgia Tech won't be able to adjust for it. But if they can, Georgia Tech -6.5, and maybe on the money line as well. What do you think?
I can't get involved with Syracuse, man. I just don't think they really seem to care that much. But then again, I mean, they're 5-5. The season's not totally lost. Both these teams need the game. I just don't want to bet Syracuse. I see time and time again them get absolutely destroyed. One game that I'll ask you about.
I just want to say, I just picked that myself, but I'm seeing now The World Is Yours talking about that game. He says, I don't like Georgia Tech as a favorite, but the team's going to play hard to gain eligibility. Yeah, I mean, the question is just, is Syracuse now, they have a new offense that's hard to prepare for? That's the big question there. But yeah, it's very interesting. And Nut Flush Allen says one of his favorite plays is Kansas State team total over. All right, Jeff Nadu, sorry, what did you want to say?
Kentucky, South Carolina. South Carolina. This seems like one of those games, man. South Carolina fighting for bowl eligibility at 4-6. Kentucky's gotten to it. They're not playing for much. We've seen Devin Leary struggle to throw the football, and look, if you can throw the football in South Carolina, you can have success. But this just seems like a down spot for Kentucky. I'm not sure that Devin Leary is very good at quarterback. I think South Carolina has some major motivation in this game. This seemed like kind of a weird number to me, but maybe I'm just kind of thinking too much.
No, I think South Carolina might be the play. Of course, they opened as a small dog. Money came in on Kentucky, and now, last I checked, South Carolina small favorite. So I think you might be absolutely right there. South Carolina might be the play there. Let's find some other stuff. So many things that I want to talk about. That's a game. The Boise game is interesting, but I want to get some others that are even more. Got everything. There's too many interesting games. I guess UCLA, USC, we have to talk about a dead year for both of these teams, but now it's a huge clash. The line's been getting bet down. You have anything on this one? UCLA, Southern California?
No, I didn't have much. The Pac-12 outside of that Washington game, I didn't have much on. A lot of people asked about Arizona as well. That's a tough one too, because I don't want to bet against Whittingham. I wonder what the thought process is for USC right now. Where's their head at?
Yeah. All right, very quickly, Michigan State, Indiana. I had Michigan State last week. They got a nice win, and now they're a dog at Indiana, and money's been coming in on Michigan State supposedly, but similar to the Iowa game, I'm actually thinking that maybe Indiana -3.5 by 3, or money line might be the play. That's something I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about taking Indiana over Michigan State here, Jeff.
Yeah, we've seen Indiana really play hard for their coach. They've rallied. They've been solid in a lot of games. We're right in that game last week. They just seem like they're a lot more forthright on putting some effort in over Michigan State. Michigan State just seems to have quit a while ago. They need to go out and hire a coach and look towards the future, man. That the season's lost. That should be their first goal. But yeah, in a game like this, I definitely lean on Indiana. They're a little bit more trustworthy. They're going to play hard.
Yeah, Cal Stanford is a crazy game. I was thinking maybe Cal, of course, it's a big, huge last Pac-12 game for Stanford, a huge rivalry here. I was thinking maybe take a shot with Stanford +7.
I don't hate it. We've also seen them play hard in games, man. They got that great receiver. Let me ask you, you're a smart guy, at least consider you one. We've talked about UAB. Why are they a 7.5-point favorite? Did you see that? I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't really know. I did take a shot with Temple. It didn't make sense to me. I can look into a little bit more, but yeah, I agree with you. The numbers didn't make sense. I looked into it to try to find out what was going on there. And I mean, UAB, you know, their quarterback's back, right? I forgot his name, but he's back. He's playing well. They got blown out by Navy. Temple lost to South Florida, but they covered that one. You know, I don't know. It's
over.
Yeah, I took a shot with Temple. I did. Might lose, but I agree with you. I took a shot with Temple. We can quickly talk about the Boise State Utah State game. Boise State fired their coach. Turmoil in that team right now. And normally I'd be looking to maybe bet on a team like Boise State after they fired their coach, but they're on the road at Utah State. The star quarterback might be coming back, and I actually took a small shot with Utah State here against what I would normally do.
I'll lean the over. Boise's defense has struggled all season.
Yes.
And I think it's one of the problems they have and why they got rid of Avalos. He was supposed to be a defensive guy. They haven't been that. They're a good run group as well. Utah State like to throw the ball under Blake Anderson. I like the over personally in this game.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you on that one. Let's see, UNC Clemson. Oh man, that's a tough one. You got anything on that one?
Yeah, I lean Clemson. That number speaks for itself. That's one of those games where I think Drake May will struggle, and we'll still kind of think like, oh, maybe Dabo's still got it. That number screams Clemson to me.
Yeah.
One other one. Which one was that I wanted to get into? Oh, yeah, Georgia, Tennessee. A lot of people talking about this in the chat. This one's kind of, I feel like, begging you to take Georgia at 9.5. But do you really want to step in front? I don't want to step in front of them and take Tennessee.
Yeah.
Why does that feel to me that Joe Milton will go in and just really struggle to move the ball? I don't have any interest in betting against Georgia right now.
Yeah, there's so many games I'm liking on today's card that that's when I'm just going to pass on. Jason Meyer says USC should roll. He says, Pete, you working on your golf game? A pleasure meeting you and golfing with you at Pubapalooza, my guy. Same right back at you, Jason Meyer. No, I'm not working on my golf game. It's actually gotten a little bit worse since I last saw you, Jason Meyer. All right, a lot of other stuff that we could talk about. New Mexico State Auburn is interesting. I took a shot with the under on that one. New Mexico State, of course, been great ATS, but it's all predicated on their quarterback who's awesome, and he is banged up. Auburn's, of course, coming off the big offensive win, so I took a shot with the under on this one. Might have been a mistake, but a huge line for Auburn, considering how good New Mexico State has been ATS this year and how bad Auburn has been at times on offense, even though they put up 48 last week. I took the under.
The thing is, though, stepping up from like a bad Conference USA this year to the SEC and Auburn is a strong golf and competition. I would still probably lean Auburn. New Mexico State's already in the CUSA title game. So I feel like they're just kind of looking forward. Auburn, I think, kind of finds their way here. I'll throw one out, Peter. Is Air Force just not good? I mean, what happened to this team? I mean, I don't know. Like, I watched last week, and I'm thinking, like, what the fuck has happened to this team?
I don't know. You tell me. I would be leaning UNLV here, but it's probably going to be a pass for me. I haven't bet it. I think I'm just going to pass.
UNLV's 9-1 against the spread this season.
I know.
I would try to find a 3 in this game, man. UNLV might, or Air Force just might be lost, man. Can I say one thing? Can I cite you in a college basketball play today?
Oh.
St. Thomas plus 7.5 against Cal Baptist. There you go. Really heading into the weeds, Peter.
Okay. I will. That is duly noted. Let's talk about an interesting game here. Oregon and Arizona State. This is interesting because, it's one of these games where there's behind the scenes emotions and relationships that maybe could matter. Of course, Oregon beat USC, lost ATS. So they've been great. 8-2 ATS on the year. Arizona State went into UCLA and won outright as a big dog. I actually did have that one. I had the under on that one, so that one cashed easily, but I didn't think Arizona State was going to go in and win outright as a big dog. They're now 5-1-1 ATS in their last 7, and Bo Nix has a close relationship with Kenny Dillingham, and the family loves him, he loves him, and I'm thinking maybe they won't run up the score against Arizona State. I was thinking Arizona State and maybe more so an under. I bet the under, even though it's a low total.
Yeah, I think I see a lot of people saying they like Arizona State here. I'm not sure I see it. I mean, there's a huge gulf in these teams. Oregon's blew out everybody they play, it seems like. and Arizona State can really struggle to move the ball. I think Oregon's the best defense in the Pac-12 probably.
Yes.
I know these games have been close recently, but they haven't played in a while. Bo Nix, they're 9-1. There's still an outside chance. I think you have to win every game by as much as you can. Oregon's great in the red zone. Yeah, I kind of like the other side personally.
All right. Well, I took a shot with the under just because I don't think that Oregon's going to try to blow them out there on the road. Anything else? I'll throw out a few other games that we haven't gotten to, but anything else you want to make sure we don't miss, Jeff Nadeau? You think it's interesting for any reason?
I feel like we pretty much hit all the games that I was trying to talk about. So.
All right, let's look at hold on one second. Let's look at other comments here. Yeah, Air Force QB hurt. That's true. Let me see. I'm just looking at all right, so let me just make sure. We'll go over our top plays of the card. I might have 10 or 12, Jeff Nadeau. But other things I was thinking about, the UTEP game under, I took that one. UTEP's off a bye. I think it's going to be run heavy. I took a shot with the under and a smaller shot with UTEP plus the points. I did take that one, UTEP, and I took a small shot with the under. Jacksonville State has been great, and they're off a bye. Anything under 10, that might be a mistake, but I took them against Louisiana Tech. That I would throw in a money line parlay as well. So I took a shot with that. Let's see. I just want to make sure we didn't miss anything interesting. Baylor against TCU. I had TCU last week against Texas. I took a shot with Baylor plus 13.5 against in general, I like to fade TCU, and given this many points to Baylor after the Texas game, I did take a shot with Baylor at 13.5. Yeah, UNLV. I haven't bet it yet, but yeah, free play definitely would be on UNLV, and I might bet it. Let's see. Just want to make sure. ODU, man, that was a big loser when they were the sharp side. I'm leaning their way again, though, against Georgia Southern. And Florida, Missouri, I guess we can touch on that. Missouri's been so great. Seems like anything under 14, you'd want to take a shot with Missouri.
Lean over.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it. So let's glance the comment section. Then we'll give our top plays officially, and then we'll wrap up the show. M. Sis is saying Arkansas State is a side. Yeah, I took a shot with Arkansas State 3.5, but as we get closer to kickoff, I'm worried that Texas State might roll. It was just a small play there. All right, Jeff Nadeau, why don't you go over your top plays officially for the card, and then I'll go over mine. I might have 12 here.
Yeah, I like Miami +1. I like Maryland plus 17.5, whatever, 18.5, whatever we got in on the show. Virginia, I grabbed 3.5 there. I like App State FAMU over 56.5. Washington, Oregon State over 62. I want to say the show gave me. And I'm also going to add Charlotte -2, or no, not Charlotte. Rice. -2.5.
Yeah,
Charlotte. Yeah.
All right, top plays that I'm liking at the current lines. I'm going to go against Jeff Nadeau. Doesn't happen often, but and maybe I would have left it off if Jeff didn't take Miami. Let's have a little fun here. I'll take Louisville at whatever it is at about pick'em. That'll be one official play for me. Louisville, I will take that one. Let me see what else. I will take Northwestern at whatever it is, -2 or so. 2.5. ULM Ole Miss, that's a third one under, I think 62.5. I'll take that one. ULM Ole Miss. I agree with you on Rice. I'm going to hold off for now, but I agree with you on Rice. UTEP Middle Tennessee under 47.5. That's another one. I'll chuck that one on there. West Virginia, I guess at 5 or 4.5 or whatever it is right now. That's another one I'll chuck on there. Virginia, I completely agree with you. I will add that one onto my official slate of stuff here at +3 or whatever you can get. Let's see, going down the card, want to make sure I don't miss anything. What else am I liking here? Baylor plus 13.5. I'll chuck that one on there as well as an official play. Iowa, I will chuck that one. I'm seeing 2.5 now. So, we're not really quoting lines here going rapid fire like this, but Iowa is another play that I definitely like. Let's see. What else? Ohio State first half. We'll say 17. Ohio State first half -17. I definitely like that one. Texas Tech, of course, at -2.5.
He's just going to play the whole board game.
I'm just playing all this. Throwing it all official play. We're just doing it all. Wisconsin, wow. Now they're up to 7. And I don't know about that. Yeah, but I'll throw it on there anyway. I'll take Wisconsin at 6.5 or 7, and also first half -3. So 2 on there. And then the Georgia Tech game, got to think Georgia Tech figures it out and rolls. And I will add that one on there officially as well. -6.5 I'm seeing right now. Wow. What a fun time of year, Jeff Nadeau. I love it.
Yes,
I love it. Absolutely. Let's look at the comment section to see if Virginia Tech money line. He says Chase White says, isn't Wyoming a good play? I don't know. You got anything on that? I really don't know.
No, I'm not.
No,
off that
me
one.
neither. All right, that's it. I want to finalize some bets, put in a free play parlay. Great show as always, Jeff Nadu. See you again next week.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, guys.